Hello, in this video, I'm going to be talking about support groups. Why go to a support group, how to find the right one, and how to get the most out of them. Before I go on, I'd love to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. We are always putting out new content and updating previous content, so there's always something new to watch. Support groups are groups where people have shared experiences and share those experiences with one another, provide mutual support and understanding, encourage one another, share tips about managing side effects, working with their medical team, and just in general provide a place where you can feel seen and heard. One of the things we encourage before you go to a support group is to try to articulate what it is you need. When we know our needs, we're much more likely to get them met. So here are a few things you might need. You might need information. You might have so many questions and your doctors and nurses have answered them, but you're a sponge and you want more information. Is that one of the things you want, is information? Or you might seek emotional support, to be told, I see you, you're not alone, or what happened to you wasn't right. That would fall under emotional support. You might be needing mental health support. You might be struggling with anxiety or depression and want to be with other people who've also struggled with anxiety or depression, very common during breast cancer diagnosis, treatment, and afterwards. So connecting with people who've been through it and who can just say, I see you, can support your mental health. You might want tips for managing your life after breast cancer treatment is over. That's a really important point for people. They often have been seen weekly or every other week while they're on treatment, and then afterwards it goes to see you once every 4 months or once every 6 months or once a year, or I won't be seeing you again. And physicians will think they're letting you loose to live your life, but you might feel abandoned. So naming what it is you need will help you make sure that this support group is right for you at this time, and going to a support group altogether is the right thing for you.
Diagnosed with breast cancer? Meet Yerba, your guide to personalized treatment options. Each option is specifically tailored to the unique characteristics of your tumor. Sign up today at yerba.com to take control of your breast cancer journey.
Now, there are different kinds of support groups. There are online or virtual gatherings where you might be in a Zoom room or another platform room with people all over the world, all over the country in which you live. And that can be really amazing. You can have sort of a form of anonymity if you want, or you can be in a in-person group, whether it's within the space of a church, and it might not be your church or even your faith community, but they might be held in community centers like churches or secular community spaces. There are organizations that you can find all over your community, and you can find these by looking online. You can find them by asking people in your doctor's office, what support groups have you found helpful? A lot of medical centers will have their own support group. Some of them might be self-limited, like a 6-week group that sort of walks you through a curriculum where these are things you need to know and then provide support, or they might be outside the health system. Don't give up looking if you haven't found one yet. Don't give up looking, because there are groups that might take a break during the summer, for example, or take a break over the holidays. So if you're diagnosed in one of these quiet spells, just keep looking. And other people can help you advocate for yourself to help find a group. Support groups led by a professional facilitator tend to be the ones we encourage for a few reasons. The first is that when groups are peer-led, unless people have specific training, they can devolve into sessions where you actually leave more discouraged, and where most of the time is spent doing things that actually won't feel good in your body, like complaining about doctors. There is a place for complaining about doctors, believe me, but a solution-oriented group tends to be what people find more sustaining to them. There are peer support groups that are really well done. So if you are in one of those or you lead one of those, we see you and we appreciate the work that you're doing. This is not to disparage those, but for people who haven't found a support group, I would encourage you to look for one that's led by a facilitator. When should you go to a support group? I tend to find that when people go to a support group very on in their diagnosis, before they know what the treatment plan will be, it can be quite overwhelming, because you hear people talk about treatments you're never going to get, and yet you've absorbed all that information and the emotions and the energy without being able to know whether that applies to you or not. So finding out what your treatment plan will be and then going to a support group is a little better than doing it the other way around. On the other hand, if you don't have a lot of support in your life and you go and you can speak up and say what you need, it is likely that a support group will give you what you need. But if you go and take on all that information before you know how it applies to you, it may be overwhelming. And seeking out one-on-one counseling, support, meeting with a social worker may actually be more useful to you in the early phases of your just diagnosed life. The other thing I want to say before going on is, if you are somebody who tends to be empathic and you absorb other people's energies and emotions, you may find support groups are better done in small doses, where you go to one a month instead of every single opportunity that you can find. Just a note of caution: if you are extremely empathetic, you might leave not only with your worries, fears, concerns, but with everybody else's. Now, let's say you want to go to a support group. What can you expect? Well, not everybody has been there multiple times. There will be new members and long-term members in a support group. There will be people really early on, just like you, and people who've been going for as long as a decade or so. So you're going to get to hear people along the whole experience of having breast cancer. What else might you hear? What you will likely hear are really practical tips. And you will also hear, "I was there too." You will also hear things like, "What I found most helpful for me was this." And this will be a space where people are going to understand what it's like to have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And that you may not get from people who love you the most. So your partner, your kids, your parents, your siblings, even your medical team, that this is their job day in and day out. Many of them have never heard of a diagnosis in their own lives. So just being with other people where you don't have to explain what it's been like for you can be a real relief. You will also hear people talk about how they've worked with their medical team, how they've been able to speak up for themselves. You know, even physicians, we tend to give our physicians a lot of weight, and we don't want to bother them. We don't ask questions. They can actually share how they were able to get their questions answered. So yes, we cover that a lot on our Yerba channel, but hearing it from other people who may actually know the people on your medical team can be really useful. Another team of support group can do for you, in addition to helping you get what you need from your medical team, they can also empower you in other ways, giving you a sense of agency, whether it's in the doctor's office, in your family and community, and at work. All these places and spaces where you live, you're now in a position where you need to have agency and you need to advocate for yourself. And being part of a community that maybe has already done this effectively, struggled with the same things, can help you leave really sort of charged up and empowered, whether it's with a list of things to do or just a different perspective on how to view the different people you encounter. All of that can be so helpful. Now, when you first go, you want to be assured that everything's kept confidential, and you will also be asked to keep other things, the words of other people, kept in confidence. So one way to look at this is you're going to share the learning, but keep the stories in confidence. So what somebody tells you about a doctor they've seen or something they're going through personally, you won't share that, but what you can share and debrief with your family or your friends is the lessons that you learned. I hope that makes sense. If you have a question, put it in the chat below and we'll get back to you. It's really important to have your words kept in confidence and not have them spilled. And the world is small, so even though you may not know people in a online group, it's very likely it's not that far away where somebody does know you through somebody they know, a friend of a friend, or that sort of thing. So you having the trust that your stories will be kept in confidence are going to help you be really open. In a support group, there are personalities. There might be people who are more dominant and people who are quieter. A skilled facilitator will help manage those dynamics. What a skilled facilitator has been trained to do is make sure everybody has a chance to speak and to share and to learn and get their needs met. So maybe you've been in other groups before, like a book group, and there are one or two people who are always talking, and they talk for longer than maybe would be comfortable for you. Or there are people really quiet that you want to hear from. It's the same thing in support groups, and a facilitator will, over time, make sure everybody has a chance to talk. Now, there may be somebody in tremendous need that day, and they may get more space and time than they normally would. So I would encourage you to go for a few sessions. If there's somebody whose personality rubs you the wrong way, it's possible they won't be there the next time you go, or that the facilitator will help make sure they don't dominate the group. That's probably the hardest thing in facilitating a group, is making sure one person or two people don't get the microphone or the space for, a disproportionate amount of time. If you've gone to a particular group a couple times and it just doesn't feel right for you, that's okay. Just try another group. Don't assume all the groups will be the same. It's like, somebody that we meet, we're not going to be friends with everybody. We have to, build friendships, and we have to build trust and relationships over time. How do you want to show up in a support group? The first couple, you might be really quiet, or you might find that you're talking and talking and talking because it's the first time you've been around other people who've gone through this. Calibrate your own level of trust. Make sure you can be honest and wait. You might wait a couple meetings before you can really share, but be open and honest with yourself and with other people. It won't do you much good to show up and have this carefully curated impression you think other people want to see. The other thing is, write down responses you have to other people. You can write them in a notebook and think about when's a good time to ask them questions. A lot of great conversations happen in the parking lot after the in-person meeting, or during breaks during a virtual meeting. I've covered a lot. I hope this has been helpful. We'd love to hear your experience or advice for other people in the community, or questions that you have. We get back to you as soon as we can, usually within 1 to 2 weeks. Please be kind. We are humans, and I look forward to seeing you next time.